Well, it has snuck up on us quickly. The NHL Trade Deadline is just about a day away, and today I'm going to go through all 31 National Hockey League teams and give my thoughts on what they should do at the deadline, whether it's buy, sell, or hold. Now, I'm going for the sellers, going to let you know who's on the block. If they're holding, I'm going to tell you who I think they might have a potential deal for, but still it's not 100% the front runners for that player. And if they are buying, I'll tell you who their target is. So without further ado, let's get into it. So in alphabetical order, I'm going to be starting with the Anaheim Ducks, whether they should buy, sell, or hold. My answer is they should sell. They have many valuable assets such as Rickard Rakell, Danton Heinen, and Josh Manson. All of them are decent options that they can be able to move around. I think they could get a solid return for any of these pieces. Anaheim could end up moving on from franchise goaltender John Gibson. I personally don't see it happening this year, but potentially in the near future. I think that they move these three guys, and those will be the guys on the block for Anaheim, as they will be sellers at the 2021 NHL Trade Deadline. Moving on to the Arizona Coyotes, I personally think the Yotes hold. They're in a pretty bad situation without a first-round draft pick this year. They are in a good spot in the standings right now. At the time of this recording, they are a point ahead of St. Louis. That could change by the time this video goes out, but still in a tight race for fourth spot in the Honda West division. I think they hold on to their roster right now. No trades, unless they get the right offer for Connor Garland or maybe even Darcy Kemper. Next up, the Boston Bruins. I think the Bruins are buyers going into the trade deadline. We saw last year Andre Kasha coming over and getting rid of the David Backes deal. That was a huge move for the Bruins, and I think they could potentially string together something similar this year. I think Sweeney can target Alex Iafallo and Matthias Ekholm. I don't see them getting both, but at least Iafallo should be coming over to the Boston Bruins, and I think that would make a lot of sense for the Bruins, as he would be a solid middle six forward option. The Buffalo Sabres. Not much more has to be said except sell. Hall, Montour's already been traded, and Linus Ullmark. I think that this definitely screams a trade for the Sabres. It's going to be a busy deadline for them. They're going to get calls about Jack Eichel. They're getting calls about Taylor Hall. The Montour trade wasn't good for the Sabres, and it was a robbery for the Florida Panthers. I really like that move for the Panthers, and I think that we will see the Buffalo Sabres be big-time sellers at the deadline. The Calgary Flames, I think they sell. I think Treliving is going to blow it up. Potentially Johnny Gaudreau will be gone. Noah Hannafin, David Riddick, Sam Bennett. But I think Treliving knows his job is on the line if they can't make the playoffs this year. I don't think he's going to be able to have another transition year and try to retool the team in the offseason. Sutter hasn't been working out well as a coach just yet. I think they might still be in the conversation to buy and try to make a push for that fourth spot in the North Division. I don't think they get it, but they can definitely make a push for it. The Carolina Hurricanes, I think they go after Mikael Granlund from the Nashville Predators, a solid forward option. His cap hit is $3.75 million, so they would have to move some cap around to make that work. But it could still happen. Players like Warren Fogle, who are on a not-so-team-friendly contract, could get moved back the other way for Nashville. And it could work out well for the Hurricanes, as they're in a really good situation atop of the league right now. The Chicago Blackhawks, I think they hold. They just got back Kirby Dach. Vinny Hinostroza came over. They're looking like a pretty solid team, but they're slipping away from that final playoff spot in their division. So they could potentially make a move to try to get it. Stan Bowman, you can never count him out at the trade deadline. Last year he made some pretty dumb moves, especially with the Robin Leonard trade to the Vegas Knights. I will never count Bowman out and say he's done, but I think they will hold. The Colorado Avalanche. Now, I originally had written out Ullmark, Riddick, Dubnyk, and Drieger. Devin Dubnyk was traded earlier today, at the day I'm recording this, on Saturday the 10th. He was traded across to the Colorado Avalanche, so I think they hold at the deadline. They got a backup goalie. Besides that, they're a really solid team. They have a hot starting goalie right now in Philip Grubauer and a really good core. Jonas Donskoi's come out of nowhere and is scoring a crazy amount of goals for the Avs. They're getting scoring depth. They're looking like a really good team. They're in a good situation. They hold at the deadline. Columbus just traded David Savard to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think Max Domi and Cam Atkinson could potentially be going as well. It will be interesting to see what will happen for the Blue Jackets. I think they probably will try to sell the rest of the deadline. John Tortorella is just not working out there this season. The Dallas Stars. I think they hold, but if they sell anyone, it will be Jamie Alexiak. There are many teams looking for a good defenseman like Alexiak, and he would fit into a team pretty well, kind of like Toronto or something. So it'll be an interesting situation for Alexiak, but besides that, the Stars aren't in a great spot standings-wise. I think they just hold at the deadline, and this year's a write-off for Dallas. The Detroit Red Wings, they sell Sam Gagner, Jonathan Bernier, Luke Glendening. They're all gone at the deadline. Bobby Ryan's probably out for the year. I think the only untouchables are the young guys, but besides that, Yzerman's going to get rid of most of the guys except Dylan Larkin. The Edmonton Oilers, I think they hold for the most part, but Taylor Hall and Mike Hoffman have been linked to the Oilers, so it will be interesting to see what Ken Holland does. At the time of this recording, apparently the offer for Hoffman was 2 second-round picks. I don't think they pay that, but you can never count Ken Holland out, and him and Armstrong making a deal would be a very interesting trade. The Florida Panthers, I think that they were going to buy, but now after acquiring Brandon Montour from the Buffalo Sabres, I think they hold for the rest of the deadline. They got their short-term replacement for Aaron Ekblad, who's out for the rest of the year. Maybe they sell Drieger, but besides that, I think they're in a pretty good spot to just hold on to their current roster. The Los Angeles Kings, I think they sell Iafallo, potentially Adrian Kempe. Kempe has been having a really good season. I made a video on him. Link will be in the top corner right now. I think that Adrian Kempe could be on the move, only if they get a Blake Coleman type deal. Coleman's deal last year for the Bolts was a lot to pay, with a top prospect and a top pick over to the New Jersey Devils for Blake Coleman, who wasn't that big of a role in the Cup run, but he still made a big impact. So I think if they get that kind of offer for Adrian Kempe, he's out the door. Minnesota Wild, I think they buy Alex Kerfoot. I think he's on the move from Toronto, but besides that, they'll probably hold. They need a second-line center to replace Victor Rask, but besides that, I think their team looks pretty solid. Oh yeah, my Montreal Canadiens. I think they try to get a solid number one left-handed defenseman, so Edmondson and Shea Weber never touch the ice at the same time again. So maybe Ryan Murray, who has been linked to them, or they just hold. I think that holding would be the right option in Montreal. I think the price for Matthias Ekholm is too high for the Habs to pay. I don't want to pay that much for Ekholm. Nashville, I think they hold, but they will sell Matthias Ekholm if they get the right offer for him. Besides that, they're making a push for the playoffs and could potentially go in on a hot streak and maybe do something in the playoffs. So we'll have to wait and see there. The New Jersey Devils, I think they sell Kulikov and Murray. They're clearing cap. I think Subban might be available there. Nikita Gusev just got his contract terminated, so it will be very, very interesting to see the situation the New Jersey Devils are in after trading Kyle Palmieri and Travis Zajac to the New York Islanders, who we're talking about next. The Islanders, I think, are going to be holders for the remainder of the deadline. After getting Zajac and Palmieri, I think the answer for Anders Lee is there. They have the replacement for him, but besides that, they're good. I don't see them making any more moves. As for their New York counterparts, the Rangers, I think they hold, but potentially will sell Colin Blackwell. Blackwell has been a decent option this year. I don't know how many teams are going to be interested in him, but that would probably be the only guy I see the Rangers moving. Ottawa, I think they sell Ryan Dzingel, Eric Goodbranson, Chris Tierney, and potentially Brown. I don't think so, though. That was one that was thrown around. I think they hold on to him. So the Senators, once again, will be sellers at the deadline. The Philadelphia Flyers, I think they sell Scott Lawton, Michael Raffl, and potentially Nolan Patrick. I think that Patrick, his name is going to be out there. There's going to be offers for him, because if he does not go at the deadline, I think he's going to Seattle in the expansion draft and is going to end up as the next William Karlsson type player. That's been rumored. I think I can realistically see that. So Philadelphia is going to be making some moves. The Pittsburgh Penguins, who have been on a bit of a tear as of late, I see them holding, but could maybe trade Jared McCann. He could bring back some decent value for the future, but once they get Evgeny Malkin and Kasperi Kapanen back, I honestly think they just hold all moves and try to make a push for the playoffs one last time with Sidney Crosby. The San Jose Sharks, I think they sell. They don't have much to sell. They just sold Devin Dubnyk, maybe Sorensen, not much more to do for the Sharks. The St. Louis Blues, while I think they could potentially be on a run and trying to back up with their goaltender, who was signed to a 6-year, $6 million contract, said in a post-game interview saying, "We're coming." I think they might be going for a playoff run, but I think that Mike Hoffman's out the door. He could bring back some positive value, as every game he's scratched, I believe, the Blues have won. And he could be the sole problem in St. Louis right now. I also think Bozak and Vince Dunn could potentially be gone at the deadline as well. The Tampa Bay Lightning, I thought they'd hold, but then they got Savard. So they're holding now, without a doubt. They have no more cap space. That just somehow does not apply to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm so jealous of the team that they have put together. It's just ridiculous there. Nikita Kucherov's on long-term injured reserve without an injury. Like, they are a smart franchise and making a lot of smart moves. The Toronto Maple Leafs will probably go after Taylor Hall and Jamie Alexiak. I could see Rodion Amirov and potentially Nicholas Robertson out the door, going the other way for one of those players. Dubas said he's not afraid to use his top prospect, getting an asset that would help the team right now. So I could potentially see Nick Robertson or Amirov gone at the deadline. As for Vancouver, they could sell a few pieces. There's not much to sell. Their season, they're going to be trying to kick it back up. I don't know if they'll be able to. I don't see them selling that much. They're probably just going to stay a closed situation with all the current circumstances there in Vancouver. As for Vegas, Washington, and Winnipeg, the final teams, I think they will all hold. They don't have much to do cap space-wise, so they're probably just going to hold on to their teams right now. They're all in a pretty good situation, so they won't make that many changes. I think all their changes came either in the off-season or last year at the trade deadline. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure that you hit that like button and subscribe. I'm going to try to get back consistently uploading. I took a couple weeks off. I wasn't feeling that. I'm back and excited for the NHL Trade Deadline. So let me know your thoughts. I'm going to be trying to stream the day before and potentially a recap of the trade deadline the day of the TDL. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys all next time. Goodbye.